And here with more on Egypt's future under their new president is William Taylor. He's Vice President for Middle East and Africa Studies at the United States Institute of Peace. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming in.
Glad to be here, Susan. Thank you.
Tell us, he's made a lot of promises. He campaigned on them. Is he a breath of fresh air, or will he turn out to be another dictator?
I don't think he's a breath of fresh air. Sad to say, he will probably be a lot like he has been since he's been running the country for the past year, since the coup that he installed himself and his president, the interim president, last July. So this will probably be more like the authoritarian regimes of the past.
I see. So much of Egypt is living in poverty. Would you say maybe 1/4% of Egyptians?
I would say yes. It's a very poor country by and large, and so there's a lot to be done economically.
Right. So can he fulfill any of these promises, talking about more jobs and the economy growing again? I mean, how would he even wrap his head around doing this? And Egyptians, I'm not sure they're going to be very, very patient in this process if something's not dramatically happening within the next 100 days or so.
And it will be very difficult for things to happen in 100 days, in that the security situation is the big drag. Egypt really runs on tourism to a large degree, and tourists are just not coming while it's insecure, while there are riots, while there are assassinations, while there's repression, while the press is being suppressed. So this is a very difficult time to generate economic benefits and economic growth, which is exactly, as you say, what he needs.
What about the Muslim Brotherhood and his promises to hold them accountable for everything? Will this happen?
I'm sure he will continue to lean on the Muslim Brotherhood. He's killed 1,000 of them, and he has another 16,000 in jail. This is a recipe for unrest and disappointment by all of those people who voted against this kind of treatment in the past.
They were so much a part of the culture there, the Muslim Brotherhood. So how do you alienate a large percentage of the people there and be an effective ruler?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. This is why President Mubarak was run out of town. This is why there is no stability unless there is some form of democratic governance, unless there is inclusive governance. It's not just elections. Elections are one thing, but democracy really needs more than that. It means listening to all the people.
And what role does the U.S. play, the West and the rest of the world, in seeing that Egypt is eventually successful?
They're going to need economic support. They're going to need financial support. The Saudis have been willing to step up with billions of dollars to help this economy. The Americans, of course, we had a law that says if there was a military coup, we had to cut off assistance, and we did cut off assistance for a while. We've begun to resume some of that, and I believe others will do that. But this is not sustainable. This has to end. At some point, you'll need to have real economic growth.
Okay. Do you see another revolution, maybe?
This is so they've had one revolution in 2011. They've had a counter-revolution last year that countered that revolution. If there is continued repression, like there was before under Mr. Mubarak, it could happen again.
All right. What do you see as the biggest step for him in the next, 90 days?
If he could reach out to all Egyptians and indicate that all Egyptians will have a place in Egypt. Egypt is a long-term, is a society, is a civilization, and it's made up of a lot of different people. If he can reach out to those kind of people, he can try to move toward a more stable democracy.
All right. Bill Taylor with the United States Institute of Peace. Thank you so much for your time and your insight.